I want to invite you to do something a little different with us today. Just imagine we're taking a walk, a slow, quiet walk through a forest maybe, where all the noise of the world just gets muffled by the trees.
Yes.
We aren't rushing, we're not checking notifications, we were just walking.
Yeah.
Because the things I want to explore today, these heavy feelings about holding on and letting go, they aren't things you can rush.
They're not. They require a certain stillness. They require us to put down the bags we usually carry.
And those bags have gotten so heavy lately, haven't they?
Very heavy.
I was thinking about that, actually. Just the sheer weight of modern life. We live in a world that is just, obsessed with accumulation.
Completely.
It feels like from day one, we're handed a basket and told, fill it. Fill it with grades, then a career, then status, then, likes on social media.
It's a constant gathering. We're taught that our worth is our weight, that the more we carry, the more real we are.
Right. But it feels like we're trying to fill a bucket that has a hole in the bottom.
And that constant gathering, maybe that's the real architect of our anxiety.
I think it is. Because if you define yourself by what you have, then the idea of losing any of it, it's not just an inconvenience, it feels like a threat to your very existence.
It becomes the silent thief that we spend our lives running from.
Yes, the thief that's going to steal our safety, our identity, everything. But the perspective I really want to walk through today, and it asks this question that just stops me in my tracks. What if everything we've been taught about loss is backward?
That is the question, isn't it? The one that turns the whole world upside down.
It does.
We see losing as the opposite of winning.
Huh?
It's zero sum. If I lose, I am less.
Of course.
But if you look really quietly at the nature of things, you might just find that losing is winning's hidden twin.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot to process. The idea that losing could be a form of winning. It sounds almost like a coping mechanism, something we tell ourselves to feel better.
I understand that.
But I have a feeling you mean something much deeper than just looking on the bright side.
Much deeper. It starts with a very quiet, very radical truth.
Which is?
The understanding that nothing was ever truly yours to begin with.
Okay, let's pause there for a second. Nothing is yours. I mean, that triggers an immediate defense in me, and I'm sure for you listening too. If I worked 30 years to buy a house, my name is on the deed.
Of course.
Or a relationship I put my heart into. Our whole culture is built on ownership. How do we even start to reconcile that?
We don't deny the legal reality or the effort you put in, but we have to challenge the psychological ownership.
The feeling of it being mine.
Exactly. Think of it like a river. In so many traditions, the universe is described as a flowing river. It's moving, it's alive.
Right.
Our suffering, it comes from trying to stand in the middle of that river and build a dam with our bare hands. We try to freeze the water, to own it, to keep it from flowing.
And that's impossible. You get exhausted.
You get exhausted, and eventually you drown in the effort. Imagine holding a handful of sand. If you hold your hand open, relaxed, the sand just sits there.
Yeah.
You have it, but you weren't gripping it.
Okay.
But the moment you clench your fist,
Yeah.
the moment you try to really possess it,
Yeah.
it just squeezes out through your
The
fist.
tighter you grip, the faster you lose it.
That's it. That's the paradox.
That is the paradox of attachment.
Yeah.
The grip doesn't protect the thing we love, it just drains us. It reminds me of what psychologists sometimes talk about, the difference between clean pain and dirty pain. Clean pain is just the natural sadness of loss, but the dirty pain, that's the suffering we create by fighting it, by gripping.
That's a beautiful parallel. The clean pain is the river flowing. The dirty pain is the dam.
Yeah.
And in the Buddhist tradition, this gripping is rooted in a misunderstanding of who we are.
Yeah.
It's a concept, anatta.
Anatta. That usually gets translated as no self,
Yeah.
right? Which can sound a bit, terrifying. Like we don't exist.
It's a tricky term for sure. I prefer to think of it not as no self, but as non-ownership.
Non-ownership.
There's a story of the Buddha holding up a single leaf in a forest just like this one. He asks his students, "Is this leaf mine?"
And they say, no, of course not.
Exactly. And then he asks, "Then why do you treat your body, your mind, and your life as if they belong to you?"
So, we're just stewards, not landlords.
We are temporary stewards of an experience. And when you realize that, losing something doesn't feel like a robbery anymore.
What does it feel like?
It feels like a return. You're simply returning the energy to the river.
A return. That's a powerful shift. But I want to be vulnerable for a second.
Please.
When you lose a job or a relationship ends, in that moment, it doesn't feel like a return. It feels like a disaster. like ruin.
It does. It feels like the ground is disappearing from under you.
The nervous system doesn't speak philosophy when the rug gets pulled out.
No, it doesn't. And we can't bypass that shock. The grief is real.
But there's another image that helps me with that shock. The forest fire.
Ah, yeah.
We see it as pure destruction, but ecologically, it's a clearing. It burns away all the dead wood.
And it allows the sunlight to finally reach the forest floor so new saplings can grow.
Exactly. That's the reframing of ruin.
It is. When things fall apart, the illusions get stripped away. We think security comes from a job title. We think love depends on us performing perfectly.
And when those things burn away,
We're left with what is real.
it creates space. I mean, it's painful space, but it's still space. It makes me think that sometimes things have to fall apart so they can come back together in a shape that actually fits who we're becoming.
And that space allows us to see beauty in a new way. Think about the cherry blossom. We revere it. Why?
Because it's so brief. Because it falls.
Yes.
If it stayed on the branch forever, it would just be plastic
Yeah.
decoration.
Exactly. Its power is in its impermanence, what we call amika. We wouldn't pause to admire it if it lasted forever. We wouldn't write poems about it.
So loss gives meaning to presence.
Absence sharpens the outline of what was there.
That puts a different spin on vulnerability then. We're always told it's a weakness. But it sounds like vulnerability is actually the only way to be truly alive. If you armor yourself against loss, you also.
You armor yourself against joy. True strength, what the Buddha called karuya, or compassion. It's not about standing so rigid that you never fall.
It's about learning how to fall with grace.
How to land softly in the unknown, and how to refuse to turn love into a possession.
That's the hardest part, though. Loving without possessing. There's a story about Ananda, the Buddha's attendant, that always moves me.
A very human story.
Can you share it? Because I think it gets right at that tension between loving someone so deeply and knowing you're gonna lose them.
Of course. Anand had served the Buddha for years. Total devotion. He loved him as a teacher, as a friend.
Right?
And as the Buddha was dying, Ananda just began to weep bitterly. He was heartbroken.
And the stereotype would be that the enlightened master would be stoic, right?
Exactly. You'd think the Buddha would scold him. Say, Ananda, stop crying, be detached.
It's all an illusion, stop having feelings.
But he didn't do that. He didn't scold him at all. He just gently reminded him that all conditioned things must pass away. The lesson there is so subtle. Detachment is not the absence of love. Ananda loved him deeply. True detachment. It's love without the demand that the other person stays.
Love without the demand.
Yes, it is loving without ropes.
Loving without ropes. Wow, that hits hard.
Yeah.
It's about building a life or a dream, but not gripping it so tight you strangle it.
And loss acts as a mirror here. This is why we fear it so much.
What do you mean?
Loss reveals our hidden attachments.
Yeah.
You might think, oh, I'm not attached to money, I'm very spiritual.
Right, until your bank account drops and you feel that panic.
Or I don't need praise. Until someone criticizes you publicly and you can't sleep.
Guilty.
Loss is the mirror that shows you where you are still clinging. And as painful as that is, it is a gift. You can't heal what you can't see.
So if we accept that this clinging is the source of so much pain, how do we actually practice letting go? Because it's easy to talk about, but in the moment, every instinct is screaming, hold on.
It has to be a practice.
A training.
Yes. You can't wait for the crisis to learn how to swim. There's a beautiful ritual in Zen monasteries. Every morning, a monk walks to the river, fills a bowl with water,
Okay.
carries it all the way back to the temple, and then he pours it onto the earth.
He doesn't use it. He doesn't drink it.
No, he pours it out. It's a training in what's called Shoshin beginner's mind.
He's just practicing the act of release.
Releasing something useful, something he worked for, just to remind himself not to be enslaved by utility. It's training his nervous system.
That is so countercultural. We optimize everything. But you're right, he's building a muscle.
And we can do this too. Psychology actually has a term for it, cognitive diffusion.
Right, it's that practice of seeing your thoughts as just clouds passing in the sky, not as solid facts.
Exactly. If a thought comes that says, I am a failure, your instinct is to either fight it or believe it.
Diffusion is stepping back and just noticing, I'm noticing I'm having the thought that I am a failure.
You create distance.
Yeah.
You don't have to own the cloud.
Yeah.
You can also practice with small physical things. I call them small trainings.
Like when you spill your coffee in the morning?
Yes. A mistrain.
Yeah.
Spilled coffee. These are micro losses. Instead of cursing your luck, you pause. You can smile, just inwardly, and say, This is my training ground.
So you use the small losses to build resilience for the big ones. That's actually really practical. You're not a victim of bad luck, you're a student of it.
Precisely. You're just softening your grip on control.
There's another practice I've heard of, a more tangible one called ritual release.
Yes, that can be very powerful. It leverages the way our brains respond to symbols.
The idea is you write down a limiting belief or a grudge on a piece of paper, and then you actually burn it or bury it.
It sounds simple, maybe even a little superstitious.
Yeah.
But it signals to the subconscious mind, I am putting this down. We carry so much invisible weight. Old resentments, outgrown dreams.
And that leads us to maybe the most difficult concept of all, but also the most important, emptiness. In the West, emptiness sounds so depressing, like a void. But the Buddhist concept, shunyata, that's different, isn't it?
It's very different.
Yeah.
And this is such a crucial distinction. Shunyata is not nihilism. It's not a black hole. It's emptiness in the sense of a womb or a blank canvas.
It's potential.
Pure potential. Think of a room that's packed floor to ceiling with old furniture. You can't move in there. You can't create anything new.
You can hardly breathe. It's stagnant.
Emptiness is clearing that room. Loss clears the clutter so that creation can begin.
It makes me think of the person with 10 houses who feels empty inside versus the monk with one robe who just radiates fullness.
Because the monk has lost the need to prove anything. He has achieved what you could call identity flexibility.
Identity flexibility, I love that term.
It's beautiful.
It's the ability to be fluid with who you are. So if you lose your job, you aren't destroyed because you were never just the manager.
You are the space in which that role existed. You are the sky, not the weather. The weather changes, but the sky remains.
Yeah.
There's a Tibetan practice called chod that takes this to the absolute extreme.
I've heard of this. It's intense.
It is. It's a visualization where the practitioner offers their own body to the demons of fear and attachment, essentially feeding yourself to your fears.
Whoa.
The symbolism is profound. It's saying, take everything. I am not my possessions. I am not this body. I am not my pain. It is the ultimate declaration of freedom.
It's like you become transparent. The arrow of loss passes right through you because there's nothing solid for it to hit.
A beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
You become the open sky.
As we start to finish this walk of ours, I want to circle back to an idea that feels, well, it feels like a warm blanket. It's this idea of viewing loss not as an enemy, but as a guest.
A guest. When loss knocks, we usually bolt the locks, turn off the lights, pretend we're not home.
Right, but this is an invitation to open the door.
Invite it in, pour it a cup of tea, and ask it, what have you come to teach me?
Because the guest you fear might be the one who leads you home.
And home isn't a place. It's that presence, that sovereignty that doesn't depend on what's happening on the outside.
There's this final paradox that really stuck with me. We spend our entire lives afraid that things will disappear. People, money, health. But maybe the real prison isn't what we lose, it's what we refuse to let go of.
The resentment, the story of how it should have been, that is the weight that drowns us.
It's the refusal to release.
You know, the Buddha didn't attain enlightenment by gaining more knowledge. He attained it by letting go of everything, even the desire to be enlightened. He surrendered.
And in that total surrender, he found the truth. You don't find yourself by holding on tighter.
You find yourself by disappearing, by dissolving the illusion that there's this separate self that needs to be protected all the time.
So, for you listening right now, maybe walking along with us, just take a breath and look at what you're carrying. Look at the fist you've been clenching so tight.
And just consider that maybe you were never meant to hold on. Maybe you were meant to let go.
Yeah.
And in letting go, to fly.
The final thought I want to leave you with is a kind of affirmation, something you can whisper to yourself when that fear comes up. You never lost anything real. You only shed what was never yours to carry.
It was never yours to carry.
Thank you for walking with us today.
It's been a true pleasure.